Hey, Cub fans, welcome to Cubs Evolved, the newest YouTube channel dedicated to analysis on the latest news, rumors, and of course, the latest scores and updates for the Chicago Cubs baseball team. My name is Brian, and at some point, I'm probably going to ask you to like and subscribe and all that fun stuff. So if you want to preemptively do it, of course, that'd be awesome. But we're here to talk about the latest this week in Chicago Cubs news, and unfortunately, it's been a rough one. 2020 has been a rough year for all of us, but if you're a Cubs fan, which you more than likely are if you are watching this, it's been a rough year for us too as Cubs fans. And you might say, if you're not a Cub fan, like, aren't you used to it? Like, no, like, we've been good lately-ish. All right, just back off a little bit. You know, this one sucks though. This has been a rough week. So the Cubs have non-tender contracts, which has been something a lot of teams have been doing as of late. And among those were Albert Almore Jr. and Kyle Schwarber. So Kyle Schwarber is no longer a Chicago Cub, at least for the time being, which I guess isn't entirely too surprising considering the longevity of his career. Probably was not a National League bound team. That being said, we'll get to Kyle Schwarber in a moment as there's one more departure we had overnight, and that was of play-by-play broadcaster Len Kasper. Len Kasper is heading south. To the south side, yes. So that's another Cubs announcer stolen by the Chicago White Sox. I mean, they're still trying to make up for the Cubs taking Harry Carey decades ago. But whatever it was, but whatever. Let's go back to Schwarber. We'll come back to Len Kasper at the end of this, but Kyle Schwarber has been with the club since, I believe, 2016, if memory serves me correctly, from Indiana University. Was a first-round draft pick for the Cubs and was someone that was highly anticipated to come up to the majors. And he made an explosion with his bat, of course. Defense value left something to be desired, but something was clear from at least the get-go when it came to how he hit and how, well, he played the field because, his catching abilities, which he came up as a catcher, weren't necessarily major league level. And it was kind of just assumed at some point that he was going to find himself outside of the National League, which, I mean, designated hitter rules has always been something that's been discussed almost every single offseason. So, I mean, if the Cubs end up finding themselves in a situation where the National League now is a designated hitter, maybe they try to renegotiate the contract and bring him back in. That's still possible regardless of a DH rule or not, but longevity-wise, Schwarber, I believe, is just fit to be an American League designated hitter in the future. He's a decent defender, and not someone that if you have anyone above maybe a C+ you would put over. That being said, Kyle Schwarber seems to think that this is a permanent move, at least for now. He did post this on his Twitter just the other day. He said, Chicago from being drafted to playoffs 5 out of 6 years to being a World Series champion. I want to thank all the fans for the overwhelming support these past 7 years of being in the organization. It never got old running out to left and being able to give you guys a salute. It really is different at Wrigley. It was an absolute pleasure to go out there every day and grind with the fellas for you guys, and I'm forever grateful for my teammates, coaches, staff, and the fans. Thank you again from the bottom of my heart. Until we meet again. And he signs it off as number 12. I mean, Schwarber brought a lot of memories to Cubs fans. Of course, 2016 was a huge deal for him, even though he was out for almost all of it, as he was sidelined by a knee injury that he suffered right at the very beginning of the season against the Arizona Diamondbacks, again on a defensive play out in left field. And then he miraculously was cleared to come back for the World Series against the Cleveland Indians. And that was the only thought, is when the NLCS was happening. I remember this, like, okay, Schwarber, if the Cubs get to the World Series, Schwarber is going to be playing. And that was kind of a big deal. So that was kind of the secret weapon the Cubs have had up to that point that they weren't showing off just yet. They had Schwarber still in the wings that could possibly do some damage. Of course, he did some damage and helped the Cubs bring home a World Series. So forever grateful are we, Cub fans, for all the moments and memories that Schwarber gave us. Of course, who could forget his scoreboard bombs and everything else in between. So Schwarber, wherever you land, good luck, sir. Thank you for the memories, and I'm sure you'll do just fine in an American League ballpark soon. But enough laughing. The laughing is over because something bad happened last night. Len Kasper is no longer the Chicago Cubs play-by-play announcer. The Athletic reported, at least I found out about this late last night, that Len Kasper was penned to be the next White Sox radio play-by-play announcer. Yes, you heard that correctly. The White Sox radio play-by-play announcer. He's going from the television to the little speaker in your car. Yes. Now, Len Kasper has been the voice of the Cubs for more than half my life at this point. The only other voice I remember the Cubs ever having while I was alive was Chip Carey. And I liked Chip growing up, but Len Kasper is truly an announcer in a league of his own. He is really, really good. And the White Sox are definitely picking up an amazing announcer. And this one hurts. I'll be honest. This one hurts more than Schwarber. This one hurts more than Theo. I mean, if you want to be realistic, yes, it does. Okay, I'm going to say it because Len's voice has been there with me for the last 16 years, every single game I've watched, and that's not something a lot of people can say. You grow up with these announcers, obviously. I grew up listening to Len through high school, through college, through my early adult years, and of course through the World Series run. And not only was he the TV voice for the Cubs, he also joined in the playoff radio broadcast, because that's one benefit that radio broadcasters get over the TV broadcasters. They can still do their job. And of course, if you're in the postseason, you want to call those games. You don't want to just sit at home and do nothing, which we'll get into the reasons why Len may have gone to the White Sox, or at least to radio broadcasting. That was part of it. So Marquee Sports Network, is partially owned by Sinclair Broadcasting Group. This is unconfirmed. I don't want to it's kind of like hearsay almost, that there might have been some headbutting between Len and Sinclair Broadcasting, which kind of led to this eventually happening. Now you might wonder, well, everything was fine. He talked, in the past about, retiring here, he's just being the voice of the Cubs for a long time. And here we are 2 years. I mean, this is year 2 coming up of the Marquee Sports Network, and he's gone just like that. I mean, Len brought such a professionalism to this role. You can listen to other broadcasters out there. I'm going to point out names specifically. Tom Brenneman and Ken Harrelson were very notorious for being, I think they step over a line when it comes to certain aspects. I remember a game against the Cubs that the Cubs had against the Reds, and they just go off on the Reds, and Tom Brenneman just like, oh, of course it is, or here we go again, or some stuff like that. And I know you can get animated and a little bit passionate about your team and stuff like that. And I'm paraphrasing terribly. I don't remember the exact words he said, but it was very unprofessional in that environment. You need to hold your cool. And of course, Hawk. We know everything that Hawk's ever said as a White Sox announcer. Literally saying BS is not something a professional baseball announcer should ever say. And you think someone who's had the long history that Ken Hawk Harrelson had, you don't think that's, you think you know a little better. All right. Len Kasper is different. He is a professional, and that's something I'm truly going to miss about him. And obviously, what I'm saying is somewhat true. He was part of the Fox broadcasting team as well. So he was brought on over there as well. So the White Sox are slowly, I think, going to be the best announcing teams in baseball. I mean, you got Jason and you got Steve over there on TV, and then now you have Len on the radio. Darren Jackson, he's going to be joined by on the radio side. So I mean, the White Sox have a really good broadcasting setup, really good. I'm really jealous. Jason Benetti is, oh my. He's good too. All right, I'm sorry. I'm kind of gushing over the White Sox broadcasting stuff, but they are truly they're going from like an A to an A plus. Like, I don't get it. Good for them to pick up Len. I hate that this happened because I really like Len. And without Len, I don't know how much longer JD stays, because JD came to Chicago because of Len Kasper. So, I mean, once JD's contract comes up, what would stop him from leaving too? So, hopefully JD stays. Currently, the front runner is led to believe is Chris Myers. Not a fan of that move. Of course, he's got name recognition, which helps a little bit, I guess, but Cubs don't want name recognition necessarily in the booth. That's not what they want. They want someone who's passionate, who's bringing that professionalism that Len Kasper brings. In my opinion, Len is my favorite, and I'd go to bat and say that he's probably the best announcer the Cubs have ever had. That's an interesting debate to have. We can have that debate at some point, but I think Len brought that professionalism, that knowledge, and the modernism that this game requires. And I think he is definitely going to be a mainstay for even more years to come. Hopefully he comes back. If Pat Hughes ends up retiring, maybe he gets the edge to come back to the north side and says, you know what, let me take the spot I really, really wanted now. So, I mean, I don't know. I'm almost at a loss of words. It's probably not the best start for a new channel, but this was something that was very monumental we need to talk about, because Len Kasper is one of the longest tenured employees of the Cubs organization. He's no longer there, as he will formally accept the White Sox radio booth role. I believe at some point today it's going to be officially announced, if it hasn't already. I work midnight, so it's kind of out of the loop every now and then. So, I mean, Mike Thomas here in a tweet does say that there's an announcement at 9 a.m. So, I mean, I believe if it hasn't been already, it's going to be announced officially very soon. So, here's a little news clipping from back when Harry Carey was stolen from the White Sox over to the Cubs. So, it just seems to be a back and forth when it comes to broadcasters leaving the north side, going to the south side, or, you know, being a White Sox announcer and going to the Chicago Cubs. So, I guess what I want to ask you guys, first of all, thank you for watching if you stayed here at this point. But I want to know, what were your immediate thoughts on Len Kasper leaving? Who do you think should replace him? And what are some of your favorite calls from Len? Did you enjoy the World Series run with Pat Hughes and Ron Coomer on the radio side? Did you enjoy his very beginnings with the Cubs when he was broadcasting with Bob Brenly? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you haven't already, like this video. We're going to be here all off season. Of course, the regular season coming up. We're going to do live watch parties at some point, which I think will be a very fun thing to do. So stick around, get subscribed so you get up-to-date notifications. And of course, just talk Cubs baseball. And if something major happens in the world of baseball, of course, we'll cover that too, because this is overall a baseball channel, but a heavy focus on the Chicago Cubs. So again, thank you for your support and for your time, and go Cubs, go. Thank you.